Hi everyone. In this video, we're going to go through 10 documents that you absolutely must know from the PMBOK guide for initiating your project. Remember, when we're initiating, we're developing our project charter, but that's not the only thing that we need to do as we initiate a project. We need to figure out if it's actually viable, if there's a decent business case for it, and if there are any other competitors or other information out there in the market that we need to take into consideration through benchmarking or those sorts of things. So there's actually 10 different documents in the PMBOK guide that we're going to go through right now. This is going to be so much fun. And here they are just briefly, because before we initiate a project, we still need to go through a business case. We can go through benchmarking, and we'll show you the documents for that. The 6 thinking hats will help us figure out some risks before we get started. Make or buy analysis to see if we should build it or buy it from a vendor. Cost benefit analysis to see if it's actually worth our while to create this thing. And then once we've done that, there's a few different ways we can initiate our project. We can do it with a project charter, which is sort of a universal way. The business model canvas or the lean canvas, these two things are similar to a project charter, used more for startups. And then we've got Six Sigma or DMAIC, define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. We can do that on a one-pager as our project charter again. And we've got plan, do, check, act, or our Deming cycle or our Shewett cycle. So those you'll see as well in the PMBOK guide, but those two things on a page could take the place of these as a project charter as well. So a few different ways to do it. And the best part about this is that we're going to use a real project. So Samantha, who is our business owner, here's the background. She runs doggy daycare, or a large doggy daycare. It's called Pet Buddy. And Pet Buddy, it's currently just one location with a large acreage where pets come for short-term or long-term vacation stays. But she would actually like to create a mobile application that matches potential pet sitters in other locations with pet owners as well, so she can get some of that market and increase some of her market share. So that is the reason why she's creating this project, and that's what we're going to use as our basis for all of these documents. So Pet Buddy, the project Pet Buddy, is what we're going to go through. And in the Pet Buddy business, just so we know, we've got Samantha, who's the business owner, and then we've got some people in operations that we'll meet along the way, some people in marketing, and some customer service and customer managers that we are also going to meet along the way. And then we've got the project team who are going to be developing this application with them. And so all of these people and teams will combine, and we'll show you how they combine using these project documents from the PMBOK guide. Anyway, that's enough waffling on. Let's get into the first one. And the first one is our project business case. Now, with our business case, remember, it's a feasibility study. Is it worthwhile doing this project in the first place? So we usually run through a summary, the current issue or the problem that we're trying to address, and then any solutions that we're going to address them with, which is going to be our project. And then lastly, a recommendation. So for Pet Buddy, Samantha runs the large doggy daycare. She wants to create the application or the mobile app to match pet sitters with pet owners. So currently they only have one location and regular customers, but they'd like to branch out into that mobile app to capture a larger market. And this can also allow Pet Buddy to have further locations in the future as well. Now, the solutions that we're looking at are to develop the basic version of the Pet Buddy app. The high-level cost is $800,000, and we'll delve into that more deeply. And then the high-level benefit is $1.9 million from the potential return and revenue from the mobile application. Here are the other solutions, and we recommend to go with solutions 1 and 2, and desired is ongoing technical support after that. This is our business case to see if we're kicking off the project in the first place. Now, next, we want to perform a little bit of benchmarking just to see what is out there in the market as well before we start our project. Is it worthwhile doing? So we've got our Pet Buddy mobile app and the ideas that we've got, so potential features here, and we're going to rate them. Do we have them? Or do our competitors have them? So here are our potential competitors out there in the market. So the feature, user profiles, booking and scheduling for our sitters and pet owners, dog sitting add-ons, communication and messaging tools, social features. So as you can see, as we go through these, and if we develop all of these features, Pet Buddy will stand out amongst our competitors who don't have all of these features just yet. So that's looking good. That's benchmarking against our competitors and where we might be able to improve. We can also rate and comment on those features. So if we had all of our other competitors down the left here and our features on the top, then we could rate our features versus our competitors' features and give an honest feedback on where we might be able to improve. So that's our benchmarking against those competitors to see if we can take some ideas and improve our process or our features versus their features and how they do them. So this is another way to do it. And as you can see, then you can rank them at the end. How are we ranking for our communication tools, messaging, for ratings and reviews on the app. Many different things that we can benchmark our features by. Now that we've looked at the market and what's out there, we also want to do a make or buy analysis. Is it better for us to make it in-house, or is it better for us to buy it from a vendor? So what we're going to do is, here is our costs to make. We've got some costs here with developers, business integration, our senior user cost, project management team, or project manager and payment systems. And so altogether, $800,000 is the initial cost, and then ongoing $350,000 a year. Now, as we can see this in a beautiful little chart here, the cost to buy is down here. So it's a little bit less, $600,000 a year to buy it from a vendor and just white label this application. But over time, the costs are still high. So over time, as you can see, it becomes more viable for us to have this in-house by the second year, and that gap is only going to get bigger. So for that purpose, we can see that the most effective option is for us to make it in-house at this stage, and that's our make or buy analysis. Now, we're also going to need to do our cost-benefit analysis. Is it worth the cost that we're going to spend? Are we going to get enough benefits back to spend the money on this mobile application? And let's have a look. As you can see, we've got that $800,000 cost in year one for our developers, business integration, and all those different costs to get that bare bones mobile application up and running. And then the benefits in year one are not very high. So just a couple of $100,000, maybe a bit of increased location revenue and a bit of revenue coming in from the mobile app. But in year 2 and 3, that revenue starts to go up. It's projected to go up. And then the next year after that, it's projected to go up again. Whereas the costs, now that we've built it, have gone down and remain stable. So what that looks like is our break-even analysis is by year 2 to 2.5. So we've got our costs of about $800,000, but by year 3, we've got revenue of over 1.5 million. Of over 3.9 million, sorry. So that becomes worthwhile for us to do. We've got a cost to benefit ratio of 2.6 benefits to every 1 unit of cost. So that is worthwhile, and that means that we can proceed with this project. Now, we also want to brainstorm some risks and opportunities, and we can do that in a wonderful way using the 6 thinking hats. This puts 6 different hats on, and the different colors represent the different ways we think about our problem. So before we go ahead, we want to say our white hat. What are the facts and the figures? In our case, what are our competitors doing? What's the total addressable market, for example? And red hat are our emotions. How do pet owners feel about leaving their pets? How can we build trust and emotional trust? So the black hat are the risks and dangers. What are legal liability issues or emergency situations that might arise with our team and our project? The yellow hat is optimistic. So how can we help pet owners find reliable care quickly? And we're increasing our demand. So this is positive, optimistic thinking. Green hat and blue hat is thinking outside the box. So we could come up with a pet cam or increase a loyalty program or something similar, really thinking a little bit outside the box there. And blue hat is summarizing it all. So we're putting this on a roadmap and doing our next steps and our way forward. So using those 6 thinking hats is a wonderful way to kick off so we'll put all of that together before we initiate our project. And now that we've done all of that pre-work, we can start looking to initiate our project because we think, hey, this is actually going to be worthwhile. The cost to benefit is looking good. Our competitors, we match up with our competitors, and that's looking good through benchmarking. So now we can say we can initiate our project through a project charter. And this is where, in this case, Samantha, remember our business owner, will start putting this together, and she may do this with the project manager. In this case, it's going to be Billy. Billy and Samantha will get together, put this together, and then Samantha will approve those resources by signing off on the project charter. She'll sign off on the funding and on the people needed, and that way our project can start, it can initiate. So just quickly, here's a good look at our project. Got a nice project background and a description, high-level details, start and finish. Who's the project manager? Who's the project sponsor? What's the project name? What are the project details? Why did we start it? The benefit to cost ratio there is looking pretty good. The key requirements, so high-level requirements we've got there. These are our initial features that we've put together. We've got what are the expected benefits? Increased revenue and increased revenue through the mobile application. And for our customers, they can get trusted, reviewed pet sitters, and pet sitters get an easy way to start a side hustle or start a new business or get new business. So the estimated cost is $800,000 for our full development team. Estimated milestones we've got in there as well. So all of this is just high level stuff. So it's a really good way to see at a glance what our project is proposed to look like. Here are our milestones, feature 1 through 7. Here's the project team and the stakeholders in the business who are going to be impacted, and we saw those before just a little bit. Any high-level risks that we have seen, and remember, how do we do our risks, everyone? You should know this by now. We do likelihood of it happening and the impact if it does happen. Just rate it 1 to 5. So if it's a 5 likelihood and a 5 impact, we multiply those two things together, and that would give us 25. That would be the highest potential risk. And so as you can see, we've got 2 15s, 2 8s, and a 2. We've got scope creep, data security, user adoption, a few risks that we've come up with here. And how do we know when the project is complete? We've got a first working version of the Pet Buddy mobile app released to the mobile store. And that is our project charter. But that's not the only way you can initiate a project. If you're working in a startup situation, or even if you're not, you might use a business model canvas where we ask all of these different questions, usually in order. And this is such a wonderful way to see if it's got a good product to market fit. So this is what it looks like, but we would ask in order the customers. So who are we creating the value for? For pet sitters and for pet owners. What is the value that we're proposing to deliver so they can match up those two things and find a pet sitter if they're away? What are the revenue streams? How are we delivering this value through the mobile app? What relationship does each customer segment expect from us? Is it do they need a phone call? Do they need emails? Is it just through the mobile application? What else do they need? What are the key activities we perform to create this value? What are the people, resources, or systems we need to create the value? Who do we need to partner with to create the value, like the project team, for example? And what are the costs of creating and delivering that value, that initial $800,000? So that is a great way, the business model canvas. Now that was modified over time to be a lean canvas as well. Lean being the Toyota production system. I think you've probably heard of that, again, from your project studies, hopefully. But lean is a wonderful way to improve your business. And the lean startup is another way. So here are the questions for the lean canvas business plan. Who's our customer segment? What is their problem? What problems are they facing? How are those problems solved today? So as you can see, this really delves more deeply into solving a customer problem to get that revenue. What's the solution for each of those problems? What's the single clear message that states why we are different? So how are we going to differentiate ourselves? And what's our unfair advantage? People refer to this as the moat around their business. How can we build something that's not easily copied by others? And what's our strategy or our high-level concept? For example, in our case, this mobile application is like the Uber for pet sitters or pet owners because they can match it up, and it's everyday people and they can rate them to see if they're trustworthy, and then they can get what they need through a similar app, just like the way Uber does it. So that's your X for Y analogy. Then we've got the channels. How are we delivering this to our customers? Early adopters, who do we want to be on board? Key metrics, cost structure, and how are we getting revenue? So all of this, really good way to start up. Now, of course, that's not the only way to do it. We could be using DMAIC. And DMAIC is from Six Sigma, if you remember. So we could use this to initiate our project as well with a predefined checklist. So we want to narrow down the problem, and we want to include a project charter here. So what's the gap from where we are to where we want to be? And that's going to look like a few of these documents here, a business case and everything, and a little description. Then we want to define the problem, and we can do that with flowcharts, SIPOCs, value stream maps, critical to qualities or CTQs, or line graphs, or a gap analysis as we define the problem. Here's a value stream map of how everything goes. And then we want to measure the current state. So we can use check sheets or tally sheets. How many customers have we got? What's the addressable market? Any benchmarking data from our benchmarking things that we have seen before, and there we go, some nice data appears. Then we want to analyze all of that data. We can do that with Pareto charts, histograms. And again, if you don't know these things, we'll be covering them later, but this is a good thing that you do need to know for your PMP exam. Affinity diagrams, the 5 whys, control charts, or regression analysis, root cause analysis with a fishbone diagram, and that's what those will look like. They're pretty cool. And then we want to improve it. So once we've analyzed it, we can improve it. This is where we're actually implementing our project. And lastly, once we've implemented, we want to see if it's under control. We can use control charts, risk diagrams. So failure mode effects analysis is basically a risk register or a risk matrix, and the standard operating procedures to lock in those changes. So that's what a basic DMAIC or Six Sigma project will look like. Pretty cool. And so that can act as a project charter for you as well. And the last way, so just another version of a project charter, could be our plan, do, check, act. And this is from Lean. So with Lean, the Shewett cycle or the Deming cycle, as we recall, we start with our problem statement. What's the gap from where we are to where we want to be? And we really want to base this on the customer-driven metrics of quality, delivery, and cost. So are we reducing defects? Are we increasing quality or delivery speed? Or are we reducing the cost? Now, notice that all the best businesses in the world do these things. Amazon, for example, delivered things quickly, fast delivery at a low cost. So they had that, and they ended up obliterating their competitors. Just something to think about. That's what that's going to look like with our project charter. And then, of course, we want to grasp the current situation. Go to where the work is done, figure out what's happening. Again, use our Pareto charts or value stream maps. Then we're going to plan out our response, and that's what that is going to look like. Then we're going to perform the response and do our project. For our case, we're going to create the Pet Buddy mobile app, and we'll control that with a Kanban board or a Gantt chart schedule as we're going along. Then we're wanting to gather data to see if it worked. Again, use a histogram and other measures. And if it hasn't worked, then we can adjust. If it has worked, we'll lock it in with a standard operating procedure or SOP. And lastly, we want to look at some lessons learned to see if we got the information that we wanted. So those are 10 documents for initiating your project as we go through the Pet Buddy mobile app, and we'll see all the other ones in the future, of course, as we go through gathering our stakeholders, gathering the scope, doing the schedule, cost, quality, resources, lots of different areas that we need to check those tools and techniques for in the PMBOK guide. It'll be a whole bunch of fun. And of course, if you are going for your PMP this year, I truly believe in what you're doing. This stuff is so important to learn. As you can see, there's quite a bit to it. And if you learn all of these tools, you'll be ahead of your own competition. You'll be able to pick and choose these tools whenever you need them. So what you are learning and what you are doing is so, so important. I truly believe that if you learn this every day, you can pass your PMP exam or your CAPM exam or your ACP exam. Keep going. I believe in you. I know you can do it. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.